Alright guys, welcome back to CD's Repairs and Automotive. Well, today I drove in a 2005 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 two-wheel drive automatic. Problem with this vehicle, it needs a water pump. Weep hole's leaking like a sieve, as you can see right down there. Bunch of water and stuff leaking from the, if I squeeze this hose, it'll probably... Yep, there it goes. Yep, I can actually hear the whole air coming out whenever I squeeze that hose. So, water pump shot. So, money lights on as well. We'll go ahead and check that out real quick and just see what that is. And depends on what it is. If I get the job, we'll go ahead and replace whatever that needs and go from there. Oh boy, 326,000 miles. Change oil. Yeah, it's probably needing an oil change. I checked the oil when it came in. Was ticking a little bit. It is a little bit low, and it is black, so it needs to be changed as well. But alright, so we hooked up the scan tool. Let's go ahead and go down to diagnostics. Come on, you. Would help if I hit the right button. Got the scan tool, just in case you're wondering. Got the scan tool at Harbor Freight. It was around about $100 or so. Yes. Okay. Chevrolet. Oh boy. The famous evap emissions control circuit. We got two codes. Engine coolant temperature, over temperature, above 268. Oh boy, it must have overheated it as well. I know it had water in the cooling system, but there's no water in the overflow at all, so she's completely dry. So anyways, I will reset these, and whenever we're going to drive the vehicle after the water pump and everything is fixed, if this light comes back on for the emissions, we'll go further into that. Just depends on the customer. But this I won't offer here because that's part of... See if there's any pending codes. No. Okay. Alright, so the tools and equipment you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need the water pump. It was about $134 out the door. Got it at a local AutoZone parts store. Let me just start off saying that this is one big mamma jamma of water pump I've ever seen. I've done plenty of 5.3s and 305s and 350s water pumps, but I've never seen one this big. She's pretty gnarly, heavy-duty water pump. Thermostat goes in here, and we'll show you more in that in detail. It comes with all the gaskets and everything that she needs to do everything. And part number is FWP9409, made in China. Yeah, because that'll always be reliable. Alright, so tools you're going to need is a... Now I've got two different ratchets. This one is extendable. This one is not. You're going to need a 10 millimeter, a 15 millimeter, a pair of pliers, quarter inch. I have quarter inch, an 8 millimeter to take the whole air box and air filter box out of the way. A pair of channel locks and a flathead screwdriver. A plastic scraper. Don't use metal because metal will scratch aluminum and then it'll end up causing a leak. You could accidentally gouge the inside of the block and then it'll start leaking and you're wondering why. That's why. A little bit of RTV gasket maker and extensions and should be good to go. Alright, so you want to take your 8mm or 5/16, same thing. Or you can take and use a flathead screwdriver, but I'm using 8mm. It's a lot easier. You guys been on there a while. Go ahead and take this dummy cover off. And today is not a good day. It is kind of cold outside. It's about 40 degrees or so, maybe about 35. After you loosen everything up, should come right off just like that. And take your massive airflow sensor connector, pop that, move that out of the way, and then you're going to slide this bad boy just like this right off. This hole would come right out just like that. Alright, so before we get further into it, what you want to do is find your peacock on the radiator. Make fun of me however you want, call it whatever you want. Drain plug, if you will, on the bottom of the radiator. If you don't have one or you can't find it, just take one of the bottom radiator hoses out. I'm sure this has probably only got water in it anyhow, so I'm not worried about keeping it from dogs or anything like that getting a hold of it if you've got animals. Take this loose, and we'll go ahead and get the bottom hose loose and let that coolant drain, or water. Alright, so now the hoses are off. I just got those off. It's really simple, guys. I don't need to really record showing you that. You just remove the clamp, break the seal on here, and then pull the hose off. This one's completely dry. I had nothing in it. Like I said, I had nothing in overflow or the radiator much. When I pulled the bottom one off, it was soaked in water. A whole flood come out. As you can tell, everything's soaked. But all it had in it was water, so I'm not worried about cleaning it up or trying to keep it from spilling everywhere. It's pouring down rain right now anyhow, so I don't really care. So next thing we got to do is get this belt off, and the tensioner and the idler pulley. This vehicle does have a squeak, and I need to figure that out as well. So alright, so take a 15mm, put it on that bad boy right there, turn it clockwise down, and then take your other hand and remove it off of here. There's plenty of diagrams like this right here, so if you get distracted or don't know how it goes back on, your vehicle should have one of these somewhere located on the fan shroud or somewhere on the face panel of the truck when you open the hood. And sometimes they're located on the strut towers on cars, and then on the hood sometimes. Just depends on the vehicle. So push it down, slide that bad boy right off, and slings back. Take the belt off, get that out of the way. Don't want coolant on that. You'll have a major squill. Just throw that out of the way. Alright, so now that the belt's out of the way, you want to check, make sure there's no play. Spin every pulley. Power steering pump, I mean, you can't really, you can spin those, but they have a lot of resistance to them, so they don't keep spinning like something like this. And that bearing's gone. Oh yeah, that bearing's shot. I don't know if you can hear that or not. That bearing's gone. Idler pulley does have some play. I hear a little bit of grinding in that as well. You gotta take them off anyway, so 15mm takes her off. Here we go. Same way with this one. This one goes in the opposite way that you took the belt off. Might as well break it loose anyhow. This whole tensioner system has got to come off. Looks to be 3 15 millimeters, which is, there's one right underneath here, right here at my finger, here and here, and the whole tensioner system comes off. But since that bolt was on there so tight, you might want to break it loose on the vehicle before you take it off. That way you can get it broke loose. And it fell down like every tool does. Slide that to the side. Now what you want to do is put it in your finger like that and spin it. And I can feel it in my finger grinding. Go ahead and finish taking that one off and we'll check that one. So, tensioner pulley and the system is out. Like I said, there was only 3 15 millimeter bolts. The bad boy comes out. Alright, so next thing we're looking at is, before we take the, well, it should come out. Let's see here. We got 2 10 millimeters over here. It should be 3. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And that holds the water pump on itself. If I'm not mistaken, there should be some on the very bottom. But if there's not, there's only 4 10 millimeters. And then you've got these 2 coolant bypass hoses that go to the heater core. So we'll go ahead and loosen these 2, and take these hoses off. It's really simple, guys. I really don't need to record that much to show you. It's really just as simple as loosening this clamp and sliding the hoses off. So we'll go ahead and do that and get that done. Alright, so we're not going to take the radiator fan out. Now on your vehicle, this is a 5.3, the 4.8, 5.3, and the 6.0, and if I'm not mistaken, the 6.2. They're all the same as far as doing the water pump on these. From 99 to 05, everything's about the same. So that water pump's, you can hear the bearing in that. That ain't good. Yours may have a clutch fan. Mine doesn't. Mine has electric fans. So you would have to remove the whole fan shroud and everything in order to get to yours. But there's 4 10 millimeter bolts. I've already broke them loose. They were very, very tight. Take that one out. Alright, all the bolts are loose. The 4 10 millimeters. You're just going to pick up the water pump, pull it to you a little bit. Well, if I'd have made sure I got that other one out, she would have came out already. Alright. Yeah, more water's going to come out. Just like that. Set that on the ground. Okay, so now that the water pump's out of the way, you want to clean these areas really, really good with very, very light grit sandpaper, or the plastic scraper that I got, or you can take some carb cleaner in the plastic scraper or brake cleaner and scrape it off. There's not much left. The gasket's probably more likely stuck on the water pump, which is a good thing. Whoever was in here before, if this has been replaced, they likely put the sealant on the water pump instead of here, because if they had put it here, it'd have been a big, big mess to clean up and get that gasket scraped off. But I have a Dremel tool, and I'm going to show you how that works. Alright, so here's my Dremel tool that I was talking about. It's a Dremel 7300. The camera's not focusing. Come on. Well, you kind of get the gist of it. Anyway, you want something that is soft but enough like to get the old gasket material off of the block. So basically, what I done was I took the Dremel tool and just kind of went around like this. And scraped all the old gasket material that was on there, both sides, and make sure it's clean and there's no gasket material left. Once that's done, then we need to get the new water pump out and get that ready to be put back on. Okay, so now you got the new water pump out and you get the kit out. Now, I'm not mistaken, this O-ring goes exactly right there, but I cannot seem to get that lip out. So the whole thermostat is stuck in here. It will not budge. I've tried prying it and I don't want to break it. This is a $20 thermostat, so don't need that. There wasn't nothing wrong with it. So we're just going to put the gasket on, put the bad boy back together like so. But I'm going to put some sealant on it. It'll go just like that. And I'm going to put some sealant on it to make sure it doesn't leak or have any issues. And then we'll put it on and tighten it down. Alright, so the sealant's on there. You're going to take your 13mm, that's the size of it. I did ended up putting the gasket sealant on both sides, and then the gasket that came in the kit in the middle between them. That way it has a good fit of sealing. I do not want this vehicle coming back. I've had things happening in the past. A lot of good stories I could tell you, don't have all day to go through them all. But if you have any good maybe comebacks that you've had in the past, you want to tell me about them, leave them down in the bottom of the comments, and I will enjoy that. Alright, so that's done. Let's go ahead and flip it over and do the back of the gaskets on the back of the water pump. Alright, so this is what you want to do. They're both the same gasket. One goes here, one goes here. So what you want to do is take some gasket sealant, take some of this, you don't need much, and spread it around. Actually, I would spread it around on the base of the housing of the water pump first. You don't need to put it on the block, the engine. It shouldn't need that. I would just put it on here and spread it all the way around, just evenly, all the way around, go up, around, all the way down, and then take the gasket very easily and set her down, and it'll stick so you can put the water pump on. Same way with this. Take the gasket sealer, go all the way around the whole block, all the way down the whole thing, put the gasket on there, just like so. It'll stick to it. That'll give you enough time to put it on the engine, and then we'll tighten her down. It's pretty much simpler than that. Alright. Take it and go all the way around. You don't need much of a sealant. You don't want to go crazy over it, because then it could cause issues. Probably help if I hold the camera right, huh? Just like that. You don't really need much. Same way with this one. Alright, so now you got your gasket sealant on there. Take the gasket and place it on there just like that. Line up the holes. Just kind of press it down very slightly all the way around. Make sure that it's seated fully. That kind of just mates them together and pushes the RTV with the gasket to make sure that it's going to stick. Alright, so now everything's on there. You want to go ahead and take and put the water pump back on the truck. Make sure that the places are clean, which they are, and they're nice and dry. You want to make sure there's no water coming out of here, because if there's water coming out of here, alright, if water's coming out of there, then the gasket will seal. You'll get the gasket wet, and then it'll cause a leak. So make sure that the whole block is clean and dry before you put the new water pump and gasket on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I can't show you exactly because I don't have 5 hands or a tripod to really hold the camera up. But I'm going to go ahead and put it on, and then we'll continue after that. Alright, so another thing I want to show you is most of these and some of these, I've had it happen before. These GM 5.3s and the older model 305s and the 350 V8s have water jackets where these bolts go into. And what you want to do is keep that from leaking. Take a little RTV and put it on the threads, and then thread that bad boy into the water pump. I'm doing it all 4 10mm bolts before I put them in. I do not want this vehicle coming back, and that'll surely make sure that there's no leaks. Basically just like this, just enough to get it on the threads so it doesn't leak, and then thread her back in. So alright, water pump is securely on. It is tightened down, torqued down, snug. It's not going anywhere. I did look up the torque specs for this. It is first around is 11 millimeters, 11 foot-pounds, sorry, all the way around. Then the second go around final is 22 foot-pounds. So it's 11 foot-pounds first. Once that, then 22 foot-pounds. You can Google it, 2005 Chevy Silverado, and it should pull it right up, just in case you want to know yourself. Alright, so let's go ahead and start plugging up these hoses and putting everything back together, and get this thing back done. Alright, so now we got that back on. The hoses, that is, they're tightened down, they're snug. Bottom radiator hose, the 2 hoses to the heater core. Now you want to take your tensioner and slap that bad boy back on. So let's put the 3 15mm back on, just like so, just like we took them off. Ain't no different. Alright, outer pulley's on, snug down. Tensioner pulley and tensioner unit is back on. Hoses are on. Only hose I got left now is the top radiator hose, and I'll put that on in just a second. First, you want to go ahead and put on the belt, because the hose kind of gets in your way. It'd be best to just go ahead and slap on the belt. So go ahead and check it for cracks. If it has cracks in it, which it don't, as you can tell. It's pretty clean. If it had cracks in it, yeah, this belt's been replaced before. The lettering still shows on the belt, so it's not that old, and it's a Daco, so it's pretty much a good belt. There's nothing wrong with it. We'll go ahead and slap that back on. Alright, so everything's back together just about. Belt's on, hoses are on. We don't have coolant in it just yet. Now we're going to put the intake hose back on. And once we do that, put some coolant in it and fire it up. Alright, so the coolant's full. Just put it in there, as you can see. Deck's cool. Now, that is one thing I want to say real quick before I fire it up, is before you put coolant in it, make sure that it's either the deck's cool or the green. Some people may have already come in here and converted it to the green coolant. If they have, you need to put that back in there. Do not change it when you take this water pump or whatever you change, a radiator, whatever case may be. Do not mix coolants either. You cannot put green and orange together. That'll totally screw up the whole engine inside. It'll clog up the ports in the intake. It'll clog up the ports in the heater core. It'll do a lot of damage. The radiator as well. Do not mix those coolants. So if it takes green, put green in it. If it takes orange, which more likely that's what stock these GM trucks take, the Chevy Silverados, and even the older models. So let's go ahead and fire it up and bleed the cooling system, check for leaks, and clear the codes on it. Let's go from there. Let's fire it up. Now I did put some, I did clean the throttle body a little bit, so it may start a little funny and spit and sputter just for a few minutes, and then it'll clear up. There it goes, and it's clearing up now. We're at 57 degrees. I use this because I can tell more than I can with that. That's rated at 160, so it won't move until it reaches at least that. So we'll go ahead and just leave that plugged up and go ahead and check for leaks. Alright, well, I don't see any leaks. Everything seems to be good. Coolant's full. It is up to temperature already. I didn't want to sit here and record the whole time. But there's no leaks. Vehicle's running good. There is a squeak. I'm still going to figure that out. That'll be in another video if you want to check that out. Water pump seems to be good. Everything's on back together. Sounds healthy. Alright guys, that's pretty much it. How to change your water pump on your vehicle. This varies to just about every vehicle. Specifically 2005 Chevy Silverado 1500 two-wheel drive. It's a 5.3 liter V8. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the bottom. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button. Smash that button. I make how-to repair videos just about every other week, whenever I can, whenever possible. Thanks for watching. Have a great day or night, wherever you are. Stay tuned for more.